Okay, so we will continue with our transistors and resistance, capacitance, and eventually the timing part. Just a quick recall, most important concept so far is the concept of a unit transistor, unit NMOS transistor, which has W and W by L equal to 1. Okay, and that means that it has the smallest possible width and length, and by definition that NMOS transistor will have a resistance R, it will have a capacitance C. Okay, and the same unit PMOS transistor will have a resistance 2R, and it will have a capacitance C, and this is because the charge carriers are different. Okay, and the next part is related to the change of the resistance and capacitance with W by L. W by L 1 is resistance R for NMOS, 2R for PMOS. If we increase the W by L, then the resistance decreases. So you have to remember that the resistance is inversely proportional to W by L. So if W by L increases, resistance decreases by the same amount, and the capacitance is directly proportional, which means that if the W by L increases, capacitance increases by the same amount. Okay, and that we have discussed in detail. Now here is another important point. We are going to design what is called as a unit inverter. Okay, so we have NMOS, we have PMOS, we know the circuit for inverter, and I can show that to you. This is our inverter. We have a PMOS on the top, we have NMOS in the bottom, and now you'll see something interesting, which is that the PMOS has size 2 and the NMOS has size 1. The reason for that is if I draw the equivalent circuit, okay, for a unit inverter, not the whole thing, I am going to have some resistance. Okay, this is my output, and I am going to have one more resistance. This is the NMOS and the PMOS. Now this is the output. Now if I'm charging, it is going to charge in this direction. Okay, if I'm discharging, it is going to discharge in this direction. Now generally we have charging and discharging, we have TPD. Okay, we want these two, that is if you want, this is something that is generally preferred. We want the delay for rising and falling to be the same. Okay, which means that whatever is happening through the PMOS transistor, the amount of time taken for charging should be the amount of time taken for discharging. Now instead of 2 and 1, if you just keep, okay, let me just erase this for a second. Let's say we go for 1. Okay, so now the PMOS transistor, NMOS transistor, both are 1. What happens now if I draw this equivalent circuit? What is the value of this resistance? It is going to be 2R, because that is the definition, right? And what is the value of this bottom resistance? It is going to be R, because that is also the definition of the NMOS transistor. As transistor has size 1, resistance is R. Transistor has size 1, but it's a PMOS transistor, resistance is 2R. Now I have 2R and R, which means that the RC delay for rising and falling is not going to be the same. So basically TPDR will not be equal to TPDF. Now this is not a favorable condition. We generally want this equivalence to be satisfied. How can we do that for the inverter? How can I guarantee that these two are equal? And the way I do that is, instead of putting 1 and 1, Okay, put this as 2. If I do that, then what will happen to this resistance? This nothing has changed, so this stays the same. But if you see the PMOS transistor, okay, what is the value of this resistance? We know that unit PMOS is still 2R, okay, but since the W by L is now 2, the resistance of this transistor is 2R divided by 2, which is equal to R, and this is my favorable case which guarantees that rise time and fall time are going to be the same. So this is something that we will use many times over. This is a condition that I want to satisfy for any gate. Okay, so we have generally we have an inverter, simplest of the gates, and this particular circuit that I have drawn here is also called as a unit inverter, because like a NMOS and PMOS unit transistors minimum size. The minimum size inverter is also this much. Not just any inverter, an inverter that satisfies this very nice condition that I have, which is rise time and fall time should be the same. So this is a special case. Okay, this particular inverter is also called as a unit inverter. So we can also write it like size 1. Okay, size 1 doesn't mean the NMOS and PMOS are both 1. It means that NMOS is 1, PMOS is 2, but this is a unit inverter. Anything will be a multiple of this particular inverter. Okay, so this is another important thing that we have to remember, and this is why the unit inverter ratio will be followed everywhere. The condition is this are approximately equal to each, that is the rise time and fall time of the signal. Okay, and so far we have been marking only resistances and single transistor capacitances. We'll extend that slightly. So we have a circuit, that is we have two gates in this case. Okay, and we want to mark. Okay, so let us look at this question where we have a circuit, two gates are there, and we want to do this, mark all the capacitances. Okay, that is the first part, and remove the non-switching ones. So what is the meaning of this non-switching one? So we will go to our whiteboard, and we will erase all the parts that are not required. We'll just keep the circuit part to make it look a little simple. Okay, and in this diagram, it's the same diagram as before. We have two inverters, both are unit inverters. We want to mark all the capacitances and remove the non-switching ones. So if you look at our transistor, okay, every transistor generally we will associate with three capacitances, one for the gate, one for the drain, and one for the source terminal. Okay, so I can put one small capacitance here. I can put capacitance here. Okay, I will do that for the gate terminals first. Not very good looking, but it's still a parallel plate capacitor. Okay, and one more capacitance here, and one last capacitance for the gate terminal here. So four capacitances for the four gate terminals, and in addition we have the drain terminal, so I can put one capacitance. Okay, and if you remember, the PMOS transistor bulk is n-type material, and that is generally connected to VDD, so that the PN junction is reverse biased. Now the same thing, okay, I can do here also, but if I do that, you will notice that the capacitance terminals, both the terminals, this side is connected to VDD. Now this side, because the bulk is connected to VDD, this is also connected to VDD. So both the terminals are at the same potential, which means that this will never store any charge, so we don't have to worry about this capacitance. We can ignore this capacitor. Let's just strike this out. Okay, and we have to remove all these capacitances which are called as the non-switching capacitance. So this is one of them. Okay, similarly here if you want to draw, it will come between the terminal and this side is ground for a NMOS transistor, and this last capacitance is also a non-switching capacitance, so we don't have to worry about this capacitance either. This is something that you can remember. Any PMOS terminal, if one terminal is connected to power supply, that diffusion capacitance you don't have to draw because it's between the same potential VDD and VDD. So we will not repeat that for this transistor. We will just draw the capacitances that are non-zero or the switching capacitances. So that is one capacitance here and one more capacitance here. Okay, so that is all the capacitances that we have to draw for this circuit. If you want, we can remove this also, no problem. I'll just remove this capacitor here. Okay, and I will also remove this capacitor. So if you look at the picture now, these are all the capacitances that are associated with this circuit, ignoring the wire capacitance. We'll not worry too much about that for now. Okay, so gate terminal capacitances, and in the diffusion terminals, wherever there are no capacitances that are non-zero, we have marked those capacitances. The rest of those we don't have to worry about. So this is the capacitance. Next, we have to also put the value, and this is somewhat simpler. We just have to put this number directly. So this is going to be 2C. This is going to be C. This is going to be 2C. This is also going to be C. This is going to be 2C. This is going to be 2C. This is going to be C. This is also going to be C. Okay, so these are all the capacitances that are associated with this full circuit. Again, remember there are two inverters. This first inverter is also called as the driver, second one is the load. Okay, now in the load part and the driver part, if I want to draw what is the equivalent circuit, let me just look at the question again. Okay, based on the low to high, high to low transition, we will get the equivalent circuit of the gate. So what is this equivalent circuit? So let's first look at the, so for example, if I look at the low to high, okay, this happens through the PMOS transistor. So this is my output. Okay, this is the load. So I don't care about the output of the load. I'm just caring about the load side. I have to drive this load, which means I have to drive the gate terminals of the second inverter, which means that this PMOS transistor is responsible for making this wire, which is at low, go to high. Okay, and if I want to draw the equivalent circuit, I have to basically have this transistor on because it has to go high through this transistor, and by the definition of an inverter, if this transistor is on, this NMOS is going to be off. So I don't have to worry about the bottom part. Okay, not completely, as you will see. So if I want to draw the equivalent circuit, I will start with one resistor. Okay, and at the output node, what is the total capacitance? Now this is a very important question. Okay, this is the equivalent circuit for the low to high transition. There is the resistor. What is the value of the resistor? That is whatever is this single PMOS transistor. That is going to be 2R divided by 2. So we know that the resistance is just going to be R. Now what is the capacitance? Like we said earlier, the capacitance at this particular node is all the, okay, so this is my output node. okay, not the output of the load. My driver is responsible for this load part, so this is the output of my driver circuit. Now in this driver circuit you have to find out what are all the capacitances that are connected to this particular node. Okay, so let's see this circuit. Start with these two gate transistors. There is no direct connection between these capacitances and this output node, because if you look at this capacitance, one side is this input, the other side is the gate terminal. There is the insulation here and here, so there is no direct connection between the capacitor and the output node, so we don't have to draw these. Okay, whereas this one side of this capacitance is connected to the output node. So one of the capacitances that is coming here is going to be 2C, okay, plus, now this is also connected to the output node, and even though they are not both connected to VDD, generally we'll just make the simplifying assumption that it is also connected to the output node in the same way. So this is 2C which I've written here. So one more capacitance directly I can write is C plus, now we can just forget about the driver circuit, look at the load side. So load side, again this output node is connected to this capacitor, so again 2C plus C, so that is going to be the total capacitance that is connected to the output node. Okay, and these diffusion capacitances, even though they have been drawn, they are not connected in any way to the output node, so they cannot be part of this load capacitance. So this total capacitance is just going to be the sum of all the capacitances connected there. So that is going to be a total of 6C. So here what I will write is 6C is the total output capacitance. And the same way you can also do one transition for high to low. Okay, the only difference is we don't look at, it's not that I suddenly jump from the driver to the load. I still look at only my driver gate, but now I'm looking at the high to low, which means I am looking at the bottom part or the NMOS transistor. So the only thing that is going to be different in this circuit is the top part is not connected, the bottom part is connected, everything else is the same. Okay, in terms of the R and C also, because we have designed the NMOS and PMOS in that way, all my resistances and capacitances, the equivalent values for the low to high and high to low are going to be the same. If you look at the NMOS transistor, size is 1, so by definition automatically resistances are. If you look at this capacitance, it is the same thing, sum of all the same things, so this is also going to be the exactly same value of 6C. So we have the equivalent circuit, okay, for the high to low and the low to high transition. Most importantly, both are the same, which means that our TR and TF is going to be approximately the same. Okay, okay. So we have a single gate for which we have drawn the equivalent circuit, and this is nothing but our RC delay model. So we said that we're going to discuss some delay models. The first of those is the RC delay model. Now in the RC delay model, it's one of the simplest delay models. How do we calculate the delay? That is the question. Okay, it's very simple. Just draw the equivalent circuit, whatever it is. It might be a inverter, NAND gate, NOR gate. We'll see all those cases. Okay, we have the transistor sizes. We cannot draw the equivalent circuit without the sizes. Okay, for every transistor we have the sizes. And maybe 1 second, we'll just go back to one question before we look at the RC delay model again. So this is a general this thing. We'll just maybe do this. Okay, so the question is, we have W by L equal to K. Okay, and we want to mark the capacitances and resistance. So this is very useful because we can do this for any W by L instead of k, just put that number 2, 3, 4, whatever. So just as a reminder, we will draw this. Okay, so I have a NMOS transistor and W by L is some k. Okay, I don't know what it is, so just put it as k. And I also have a PMOS transistor, okay, of the same size. And for this transistor, okay, I will draw it on the bottom. What is the value of the capacitance and the resistance? And for this transistor, what is the value of the capacitance and resistance? This is very useful because we can then do it for any transistor whose size is k. K can be any integer, usually it's an integer. Okay, so first for the NMOS transistor, the capacitance associated with each terminal, gate, source or drain, is k times C. Okay, and the resistance of this transistor is given by R, okay, divided by the value of the W by L, which in this case is K. And similarly, for a PMOS transistor, the capacitance, easy to write, is the same, K times C, but the resistance this time is 2R, because the unit resistance is 2R for a PMOS transistor, and since the W by L is K, the actual resistance is reduced by that much, whatever the W by L is. So this is a very important generalization to remember. K, 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 K here and here, but for a PMOS transistor, the unit resistance is 2R, not R. Okay, so that is what we have here. And then now we can go to the RC delay model. RC delay model, just have to draw the full equivalent circuit. Okay, we have multiple transistors might be there, but for the low to high or high to low, whichever it is, for that particular transition, you have to replace the transistor with the resistance, equivalent resistance, and mark all the capacitances. Okay, now what is the value of the delay? That is what the RC delay model is going to tell us. It is very simple answer. The delay is given by the R into C product. Okay, that is the delay. Okay, TPD. Okay, let us just call it TPD. Propagation delay equal to R equivalent, okay, how much ever we get, multiplied by the capacitance, load capacitance. This is important. Okay, what is the load capacitance? That is just the total capacitance is connected to the output node. That is the load part. This includes generally two components, includes the diffusion capacitances of the driver, okay, and it includes the, if we just go back to this diagram, driver, load. This is the node, output node. Also whatever we draw here is called as the load capacitance. It includes the diffusion capacitances of the driver, which is this transistor and this transistor, and the gate capacitances of the load. Together all that is the load capacitance, CL. And what is the delay as predicted by the RC delay model? It just says that the delay is equal to R into the total load capacitance. That is all. So this, we can do this for any circuit. First step is draw the equivalent circuit, okay, and from there find out what is the equivalent resistance, and from the same circuit find out what is the total load capacitance. The product of these two numbers is going to be another number. This is approximately going to be the propagation delay of your circuit. This is what the RC delay model tells us. Okay, so this is just showing that. Okay, and we already did this circuit with two inverters. What is the RC delay model? So we can just go back to this diagram. We knew that R equivalent, okay, for that particular case, that is with two inverters, the R equivalent was just R, okay, and CL in that particular case we calculated was 6C. So therefore delay equal to the product of these two numbers, or it is going to be 6RC. So this is my delay due to the RC delay model. For which circuit? For this circuit. That is two inverters, both are unit inverters. For this circuit, one unit inverter, we calculated load capacitance, we got 6C. Each transistor has resistance R, so the equivalent resistance is just R, load capacitance is C, and the delay is just going to be the product of these two numbers, 6RC. Okay, so this is the RC delay model. Now, first question, we cannot always live with an inverter, we need some more complex gates also. So let us first look at sizing of gates. Okay, so we have many other gates. Generally we will work with NAND gate, NOR gate, etc. And first step is, from now onwards, since we are talking about delay, there is no concept of delay without the sizes. So we have to find out what is the sizes of these transistors. Okay, and this is a very important statement. Size it. It means the gate delays are comparable to a unit inverter. What is the meaning of this statement? This is a very important statement, and what this means is, we have a unit inverter, we know its sizes. The PMOS is 2, NMOS is 1. What this statement means is, the NAND gate also should have the same delay as the unit inverter, which means that NAND gate obviously has more transistors, right? It has two transistors in the PMOS network, two input NAND gate, for example, two transistors in the PMOS network, two transistors in the NMOS network. But this condition we want to satisfy, that is, together, okay, both those transistors should be equal to the single transistor of the PMOS network in the unit inverter and the single transistor of the NMOS in the unit inverter. So how can we do that? Okay, okay, so before we go that, let us just look at transistors in series and parallel. So we have two separate configurations and only drawn the NMOS. Equally, the analysis will be very similar for PMOS, not different at all. Okay, but first question, we have two transistors, okay, in series, and we want them together to be equal to a single NMOS transistor, and here we want these two to be equal to this, equivalent rather. How can we do this? So you can think on this, we will come back in a few minutes.